in the very first volume of Touched by a Story. Rabbi Yechiel Spiro, may Hashem give him strength to continue to inspire the Jewish people, tells of Larry Levine, who was down on his luck. He lost his job. He couldn't hold any job, not as a waiter, not as a chauffeur, not as a doorman. And he was about to get evicted from his apartment for not being able to pay the rent. And he noticed in the classified ads a job in a yeshiva to be a janitor. Okay, he needed pay. He was about to get evicted. So he went for the interview in Far Rockaway. But he was surprised that instead of meeting with the head of the technical staff, instead he met with the rabbi. And they were talking about their lives. And the rabbi asked him if Larry understood what kind of institution this was. And Larry said, despite his ponytail and despite his hippie-style clothing, he actually grew up. He went to yeshiva, but it didn't work out for him. It was too closed in the box. Larry needed a little bit more outdoors. He needed a little bit more flexibility. His parents didn't understand. The school didn't understand. He got thrown out of school after school. A terrible experience. And he ended up this way. But yes, he once was in a yeshiva, so he understands what a yeshiva is. So the rabbi, after talking, said, Larry, I want to offer you a job, but unfortunately the janitor job is no longer available. The only job that's available is as a rebbe in the yeshiva. I have 3 talmidim that desperately need a rebbe, and I think you're the right guy. And that's the only job available. Larry said, Rabbi, I appreciate the thought, but look at me. I'm not even a religious person. I don't keep Shabbos. I don't daven. How can I be a rebbe in a yeshiva? So the rabbi said, let me worry about that. This is the only job I have available. And Larry was desperate. So he was like, okay, I guess I'll be a rabbi. They fronted him a check so that he could buy some different style of clothing, a little bit more yeshiva appropriate. He bought himself a blazer. He bought himself some shoes. And then he comes in on the first day to teach these 3 students. The rabbi said to him, we're learning the first perek of Baba Metzia. Do you know that perek at all? Larry vaguely remembered something about 2 people fighting over a garment that they were both holding. The rabbi said, don't worry, if you need help with the material, I'll help you out. But Larry was sort of excited and intrigued to prepare the material himself. And the first day came and went, and it was successful. And the days started to build on each other. Larry came into the rabbi and said, okay, it's going okay. I feel a little bit uncomfortable teaching this material without a kippah and tzitzis. Can you imagine? For a few days, that's the way that the rabbi was. So the rabbi lent him a kippah and tzitzis until Larry bought his own kippah and tzitzis. And sure enough, decades later, Ruchi Levine and their 9 children are thankful to Rabbi Shlomo Freifeld, who had the vision to see that this neshama, who was down and out and in a bad time, could be elevated, had potential to do something great, to become Rabbi Levi Levine, who's been in chinuch for so many years. The truth is that Rabbi Freifeld, even though he was a master and a genius in chinuch, he was really just following the instructions that Hashem gave Moshe about how a Jewish leader deals with his flock. Hashem says to Moshe, Se'u es rosh kol hadas b'nei Yisrael, count the Jews. But the word that he uses for count the Jews is not something like of the root, samach pei resh, which we know from Sfiras Omer means count, but rather Se'u, that when we're looking at Jewish people or taking an accounting of Jewish people, so Se'u, we lift them up, we elevate them. Don't just gather Jews together and start counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Rather go to them and make them feel like they're unique, like they're significant, like they're special. Se'u es rosh. Lift them up and elevate them. That's one. Now we have a Jew. Then go to the next one. Let's elevate them. Now we have 2. And that's what Rabbi Freifeld excelled at, is letting every neshama know that no matter what the externals say and no matter what the life situation is, that there's elevation, there's greatness to be had. What's unique about Hashem's lesson, though, is that it's not just only about the individual, but it's about lemishpechosam leveisavosam, that we have to realize our significance as an individual within the context of a mishpacha, that my father stands for something, and my father behaved in a certain way, and he came from a beis avosam, he came from a long history, that yes, we have to forge our own individual path, but at the same time, we're standing on others' shoulders, and that greatness, our individual greatness, should be in the context of the family and of Adas B'nai Yisrael. And one last point is that Rashi comments that when Hashem wanted to count B'nai Yisrael, He wanted to count them to show love. That in Hashem's version of love, love is Se'uas Rosh. Am I helping somebody else be great? Am I helping them bring out their own greatness? Am I elevating them? Even some of the V'nei Shemayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us realize our ability to elevate others and make them feel great, especially those, but not limited to, those who are downtrodden. We should have our mission of every day, especially these days of Sfira, as we get closer to our Sina, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, Neged Ahar Ki'ish Echad B'Lev Echad, that every day that goes by, 1, 2, 5, a certain amount of people that we're going out of our way to make them feel really great and unique. Have a great Shabbos.